Spider-Man on PS4 is made by the makers of Bad Mario and gun games for kids, so of course it was a day one buy for me. Ever since Rocksteady hit it big with the Arkham series in 2009, every lowlife in the YouTube comments section has been begging their favorite superhero to get similar treatment. So when Insomniac said that they were making a Spider-Man game, the collective response was, okay, but if you mess up the web swinging, I will cut you. Spider-Man 2 on the PS2 is collectively held as the best Spider-Man game until this one, not because it has some stellar combat system, but because the web swinging is just fun. And of course fans expect a great web swinging system. It's probably Spider-Man's most iconic characteristic. You know, Batman isn't shooting white fluid out of his body, Spider-Man is. And oh my god, it's immaculate. Insomniac has raised the bar impossibly high for traversal in video games. Every single movement, every single button input that Spider-Man on PS4 has is committed to making you go faster. Every single building is carefully designed so you can keep the fluidity of movement up. You're constantly moving at this steadily fast rate, and it's exceptional. In all honesty, for this game to be a success for me, the web swing just had to be fun. I just needed to be able to have fun just swinging around the city. And my god, did Insomniac hit it out of the ballpark. And it's not just that. New York is such a lively and fun place. Instead of making New York the most dull and gray place to explore ever like Rockstar did in 2008, New York is how people imagine it to be that haven't been there before. New York is bright in the day, and at night it's lit up by beautiful lights in the city. There is such attention to detail. It feels as though you're actually in the New York that we all picture as kids. People are calling for taxis, civilians interact with Spider-Man while he's helping the police and performing his superhero duties. There are famous landmarks from the Marvel comics and real-life New York that are sprinkled throughout the map. It's simply one of the most fun and inviting open worlds that I've ever been in. And it is packed with content. I mean, listen, web swinging is enough. That's great. But they have packed so much excellent content in here. You can find Spider-Man's old backpacks. You can stop active crimes. You can help Harry Osborn at his research stations, which really make you use web swinging and the mechanics you have creatively. You can track down Black Cat. You can stop Taskmaster. There are so many options. And above all stands the side missions. My gosh, there's not even that many of them, but there's such thought put into them that I was smiling the whole way through on every single one of them. And the enemy bases never get old, and it's all because of Spider-Man's excellent combat system. The combat system established in Batman Arkham Asylum has been used as the foundation for so many combat systems in recent years, and yes, a couple of them get it right, but so many of them get it horribly wrong, and it just turns into a waiting game where you can just counter your way out of every fight. Spider-Man's combat system, in my opinion, is the evolution of the Batman Arkham combat system. For instance, you don't have a counter button, you have a dodge button, you don't do any damage back, and later in the game you can get a perfect dodge, but even then you just stun the enemy for a couple of seconds, you don't do anything remarkable. This encourages the player to play the game how it's supposed to be played. Enemies rush at you, they don't wait, you can have multiple attacks coming on at once, and it forces you to be constantly moving as Spider-Man, which is so much more fun than just countering and simply waiting around. The melee combat by itself is incredible and extremely fast, but it's what Insomniac does uniquely that helps this combat system truly stand apart. Insomniac has had a lot of experience with gadgets and aerial combat, and they really use that to their advantage here. You can uppercut an enemy into the air, combo him there, drag an enemy from the ground into the air, and then combo him, and then web swing across the map, and then web him to a wall. You have gadgets that defy the laws of gravity and make enemies stick to each other. Those two elements mixed with the excellent melee system and the fact that you can perform environmental attacks and the fact that each suit has its own powers and mods that you can customize, it just all culminates in an excellently made combat system. You can get so creative, and I did stuff in this game that would simply not cross other developers' minds when it comes to designing. Creativity is the key to what makes this combat system work so well. And the same can be said for the story. Spider-Man on PS4, of course, has a solid Spider-Man story. The first 2 acts have an incredibly interesting mystery that you have to unravel, and by the 3rd act, it's Spider-Man just facing some of his most iconic foes all at once, and I love it. However, as countless articles have pointed out, the true hero here is the Peter Parker story. Insomniac wanted to make their own Peter Parker story, and they absolutely succeeded. These restrictions that have been with these characters for years throughout countless origin stories are thrown out the window. There are things done with characters that have been used over and over again that I would have never saw coming. They go places that I thought they never would have, and it all makes for a more interesting and serious Spider-Man story. I love how much Spider-Man on PS4 truly shows how much Peter struggles with being Spider-Man, even after years of experience. You can be doing something in the city and you'll get a phone call from Aunt May that she needs you at Feast and that you're running late. There are consequences for Peter's failures and shortcomings, and hell, just for things that he can't even control, just like in real life. It all makes for a more mature take on the character, one that I respect so much. I don't mean to talk trash on the recent movies, but even something with Spider-Man Homecoming, it doesn't have the same emotional impact that the old Sam Raimi films had, or that the Spectacular Spider-Man TV series had. Spider-Man on PS4 recaptures that interesting Peter Parker story here and uses it so well. And when it comes to the flaws of Spider-Man on PS4, there are none that really stick out to me. Sure, there are the puzzles, which I didn't really like that much, but they're skippable. And even with the boss fights, sure, you have some stinkers like Shocker or the first one with Mr. Negative, but for every one of those, there's an excellent one waiting just around the corner. And the good bosses far outweigh the bad ones. Spider-Man on PS4 is a modern gaming masterpiece in my opinion. The combat is so fast, frenetic, and fun. And the fact that it allows the player's creativity to blossom in every single encounter amazes me every time I pick the game back up. The city of New York is so welcoming and enthralling to explore. And the story is so refreshingly inventive and does things that I would never saw coming that pleased me so much that I just could not stop playing the game. Every single time I put the controller down, I wanted to pick it back up again and finish the game. All those factors mixed in with the awesome costumes that I constantly switch up and the best photo mode ever put in a video game, Spider-Man on PS4 proves that Insomniac should be considered one of Sony's top dogs. And in my opinion, Spider-Man on PS4 earns a 10 out of 10. It's a must-have game for anyone who owns a PS4. And hell, if you don't have a PS4, go out and get this game. It's just that damn good. No, I don't think it's as good as Arkham City, but it's really close. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you guys next time.